And people like Sadiq Khan, the mayor, and the government are denying it. What planet are they on? Because they're certainly not on the same planet I'm on. And ask my daughters what they must think. They're frightened to death. And it's not just about me and my daughters. It's about everybody's daughters and girls and women on the streets in this country at the moment. Are you frightened? Do you feel safe on the streets? What about you, sir? Do you feel safe?
Just to give context to the whole conversation happening before this guy went on his whole segment, the conversation was around the new proposed policies on how to deal with illegal immigration, asylum seekers. And yet he goes on about how it hasn't been fixed yet and it's causing major problems, like him having fear walking down the street. How in the world are you having fears walking down the street? How is that being caused by someone coming on a boat? I have never in my life in this country ever come across someone as an asylum seeker. The probability of that happening is probably exceptionally low. How do these people just wake up and then the first person they run into in their life is just an asylum seeker? How are you doing it? How is that possible? How the hell do you have fears walking down the road and that fear is caused by asylum seekers? How is that possible? Genuinely, which world do these people live in? We're gonna get into the full clip, but before we do that, it would be massively appreciated if you drop a like on this video and also sub to the channel.
Let's get the views of my wonderful audience and my wonderful panel as well. Adam, I'm going to start with you on this. So, go on. Do you think that Shabana Mahmood's plans will work?
Anyone that believes this woman's rhetoric needs their head testing, because at the end of the day, we have had this rhetoric ever since the general election. We've had Keir Starmer only 3 months ago tweet that he's going to detain and deport every illegal immigrant that comes across. We are seeing record numbers enter this country. Since the one-in, one-out scheme, I think it's 13,000 in and 141 out. That is laughable. It's just for headlines. They've got no will to get these people deported. When they say that they've deported record amounts of people, we're talking overstayers like Brazilians, Vietnamese that work in nail bars, not these sort of people that are crossing the channel. We've got Germany, Austria that are deporting Syrians and Afghans. They're not worried about sending them back to these war zones. At the end of the day, we need to get tough. And we've got a Prime Minister that is a human rights lawyer. There is zero chance that Labour are going to do this, and people should not fall for this propaganda. Okay.
Well, that just doesn't make sense, because if you're going to remove people that are illegal in this country, most of them will not be people that came on a boat. Most of them will actually be people that had legal routes, like getting a visa to this country and then overstaying their welcome, and then they didn't get a renewal, they didn't get anything after that, but they just stayed anyways. That typically is where most illegal migrants typically come from. Most of the people that are illegal in this country, they are typically overstayers when they get their visas. And then number two, lots of these policies are policies these are policies that typically came from reform as well, if I'm not mistaken. Being able to speak English, not being allowed to just stay here under any circumstance, and actually trying to see whether or not they're actually coming from a war-torn country. These are typically policies that are driven from the right as well. That's why there's a narrative being built that lots of the new policies are just policies copied from people on the right. So either way, it doesn't really make sense, because if it isn't going to work, then what about when your people projected it? You supported it. So if the people on the other side also trying to do it, you should probably support it, considering that's what you want.
Can I go to the bloke on the front row? Is that all right? And then we'll open it up to the rest of the panel. What would you like to say about all this, sir?
Well, I'm Andrew Dobson. I'm from your neck of the woods in Kendal, Cumbria.
Strong part of the world, mate. Well done. The Westmoreland Gazette, fabulous local newspaper. Yeah.
I'm 78 years old. I've never seen so much hypocrisy in any government during my entire life. They are not going to stop the boats, it's obvious. And I totally support Adam in what he's said in the past on previous programmes, that he is concerned about the safety of his daughters on the streets. Well, I'm afraid it's too late for me, because I've got 2 daughters and they've both been attacked. One on a tube train and the other on the streets in Clapham. Now, they're not stupid girls. They're from King's College, they're university graduates, but they're still frightened to death of walking the streets alone.
If you're going to make a claim about your children getting attacked, and you're going to use that as an example, as a scenario to prove why asylum systems or allowing illegal immigrants into the country is a bad thing, don't you think it would be very important to point out who actually were the perpetrators of this, like, assault or whatever you call it? You say they got attacked, and yet you don't even say, are they men? Did they get attacked by women? Are they illegal immigrants? Are they British nationals? Like, what? Like, who did they get attacked? The conversation is about asylum seekers, and yet you say that your children got attacked. Yeah, by who? Are they asylum seekers? Then say that, because if they're not asylum seekers, your scenario doesn't work in this context. The conversation there, it doesn't make sense to bring that up. So it doesn't make sense. And number two, it makes sense why women would feel more anxious to walk at night. It makes sense, right? But if that's the case, you're more likely to get attacked by someone that already is in this country than someone that is coming on a boat. Just by sheer numbers, the sheer numbers of the people that live in this country far, far supersedes the numbers of the people that are coming on a boat. So just by probability of pure numbers, you are far more likely to get attacked by someone in this country. The problem of getting attacked isn't a problem of asylum seekers. It's a different entire problem. It's a different problem entirely. Women have been getting attacked for a very long time, long before the age of immigration. Okay, so trying to use an example of why illegal immigrants are causing problem in your country is insane. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand how these people don't realize this. Genuinely, it's so low IQ to use this kind of example. So low.
Any time during the day in London, and people like Sadiq Khan, the mayor, and the government are denying it. What planet are they on? Because it's certainly not on the same planet I'm on. And ask my daughters what they must think. They're frightened to death, and it's not just about me and my daughters. It's about everybody's daughters and girls and women on the streets in this country at the moment. Are you frightened? Do you feel safe on the streets? What about you, sir? Do you feel safe?
He didn't get any response for that. No one even responded to him. I assume he was talking to her specifically. Like, do you feel safe? No one even responded, because it's so stupid. Like, what are you talking about?
Asking me if you're entitled to a family life when they come here. You can see by my shirt, this is from the nuclear submarine Conqueror.
Yeah.
What do you think of a family life I had when I was out there serving my country on a nuclear submarine?
Yeah. I mean, well done for
Oh my God, bro.
Thank you.
Just stop, okay? Not even to throw shades of disrespect towards someone that serves the country. But using that is that's weaponization right there. That rhetoric you just spewed out it's total nonsense. And you're trying to use the capital that you've gained by you're using the capital you've gained by serving this country as a way to weaponize whatever narrative you want. At the end of the day, it's fine that you serve this country and it's respectful. Of course, you should always respect people like that. But what you said is just factually incorrect. It's just wrong. It's just wrong, and it isn't right. That shouldn't breed some form of like adulation from people. It doesn't, just because you serve the country doesn't mean everything you say is right. Because what he said is just factually incorrect. You're far more likely to be in every way, shape, or form to be hurt, embarrassed, harassed, every way, shape, or form than someone coming on a boat. Just by the sheer likelihood of you even coming across someone that came on the boat. How are they the people causing fate in your life? How is that even possible? How do you come across these people this often? I don't understand.
But obviously, very, very sorry to hear about what happened to your to your daughters there as well. I do hope they're okay, and I'm sure we all share that sentiment. Yeah. Do you believe that Shabana Mahmood's plans are workable? Do you think that she's going to do, going to crack this? Do you think, Linda?
I think that the fact is, it's not so much that there's a plan. There is a plan. It's will she implement it? That's the problem. I mean, the plan looks okay on paper, but we know no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Isn't that what someone said was much smarter than me a long time ago. The fact of the matter is, the key is in the implementation. The reason why Denmark has had a lot of success is because they've driven home that plan and made it work. We can't just follow the Danish model thinking we need a piece of paper that's the same as theirs. We've got to act like they act if we want to solve the situation. And just to say, I'm so sorry to hear about your daughters. I have a daughter at university in London, and she crosses right from Greenwich to Richmond, and it frightens me all the time as to what she might meet. And although I can't comment on a live case, I did go to school 3 streets away from the stabbing in Uxbridge, so it's something that hits you hard when it hits your community. But I will say the plan looks OK on paper, but that's not the point, is it? The point is, can it be implemented?
There's one thing here that's not actually being admitted here. At the end of the day, whatever plan is being implemented, Denmark style, whatever style it is, she is right. It's just a plan, but it's actually going to take some initiative to actually make it work. Something that isn't being discussed by people trying to implement this plan is, to actually get this plan working, you're going to have to probably break some rules, some international law. You're probably going to have to. That's the uncomfortable part of all this. There are certain parts of this proposed plan that probably doesn't align with the established law or established international law, which is why reform they keep clamoring, we got to leave the ECHR, so that when we want to do what we want to do, we're not going to have to face repercussions of the international law. Whatever Denmark style it is, whatever style it is you're trying to incorporate into how to fix this problem, you're probably going to have to break certain international laws. That's where the problem is. That's where it goes from just a plan to actually making it work, because you would have to break certain laws that you probably wouldn't want to, and it doesn't necessarily look good, but just for the sake of trying to reduce people coming on the boat, you're gonna have to. That's the part of this plan that it just isn't spoken about, because it's a plan, yeah, sure, but you're going to face the same blockade that you've faced for the last 2-3 years of trying to fix this problem, which is international law. You're gonna have to just hoop over certain international laws to be able to get anything done, because I'm pretty sure most countries that reduced asylum seekers, they pretty much did that. You're gonna have to. You really would.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And Christo, I'm just going to bring you in on this before we go to Barry. One of the issues with Shabana Mahmood's plan, in my view, is that she's saying, well, she's going to instruct the judges to put our safety first. Well, we know that there's been several judges who, of course, well, loads actually, who have previously just worked pro bono for asylum charities, etc. I just don't really see that happening.
Yeah, I think there are 2 issues here, and I think, Linda, you touched on them. The idea is good, actually, and if she implements this, I think that we should support her doing that. I think that when this absolutely crazy far-left socialist complete nut job incompetent government actually comes up with a good idea, that it's magnanimous of us to actually support that idea. What it's exposed, though, so as you outlined, the Denmark plan, as soon as there was a flood of migrants that came from Syria or Afghanistan, all those places, they said, right, we're stopping asylum being permanent. You're going to have to reapply. We're actually going to get rid of ghettos. We're going to stop you being able to come here for a permanent amount of time. You've got to get a job. You've got to learn the language. Even if you get a speeding ticket, that can jeopardise you keeping your asylum. Now, what that shows is that they are supposedly part of the ECHR. And we have this big debate about the ECHR. What we have had in the recent years here in the United Kingdom is a political decision not to do something about small boats. Because Denmark, part of part of Europe, part of the ECHR, were able to. And even though the UN have criticised them, they have stuck to their guns, and their applications for asylum have gone from somewhere like 10,000 to 2,000. They have absolutely cut the numbers massively. So you're absolutely right. Will activist judges mean that we do that here in the UK? I don't know. I'm cynical. And will the people behind Shabana Mahmood, who are they can't even allow a small cut to benefits to go through the backbenches of the Labour Party. So whether they will allow something like this to go through, I am extremely cynical. But the idea itself is actually good.
And that's the point I was trying to make earlier. At the end of the day, it is important to respect the established laws that says the judges and the Supreme Court have the ultimate power to translate whatever laws it is that's already and that's guiding the system. But time and time again, you will face troubles trying to bypass like the Supreme Court and the judges that you can't do certain things. It's also one of the problems Rishi Sunak, the former Prime Minister, faced when he had his own Rwanda plan. The Supreme Court deemed it illegal because it didn't think Rwanda was a safe country to transfer these people to. So at the end of the day, whatever plan is established, it's fine on paper, but how many barriers are you going to face and how many are you willing to bypass to be able to get to the narrative or get to the end goal that you're trying to sell people? That's gonna be the main problem. Being on paper is fine, but it's just about getting it through. That's gonna be the hard part. But that's just my thoughts. If you're new around there, it will be massively appreciated if you drop a like on this video, and also if you want to see more content like this, sub to the channel.